Welcome to Foreign Policy as a Subject or a Course of Study. And the title for today is Constructivism as a Foreign Policy. And this is week 4, the 29th of May 2024. Learners would appreciate constructivism from the understanding of it in foreign policy. Then the types of constructivism, the US type and then the European type. Then the three ways that constructivism is used to appreciate foreign policy. We make it very snappy. The name is H. Kwame Afagro. Constructivism is the way society has created its value system, the do's and don'ts. So then society knows who they are, or a society knows who it is. Say the United States of America know who they are. They are into free market economy, they are into liberalism, they are into realism. Or Europe, some parts of Europe, France knows who it is, that it is into assimilating Africans. So you understand, the Asians also have this idea. They know what constructivism is. They know they are strictly into another realm of ideology, that is what? Being communist, say the Chinese or the Russians. Okay. So then you must know who you are. Knowing who you are makes you understand constructivism better, meaning that you know who you are and you know who the other person is. This person is not you. That society is not your society. That's knowing whom you are. So it is the we versus them. Better put, it is you are either with us or you are against us. You are either with us or against us. So they draw a certain social norm, or they construct society in a way where they can appreciate views, constructs. They construct it in a way that they can appreciate certain views, welcome it, and those that don't belong to them. For an instance, most countries have arms. Most countries want to have nuclear weapons as of today, 2024. But not all countries do have nuclear weapons. Some countries that want it, the United States says, no, you don't deserve it. Europe says, no, you don't deserve it. Because you are not one of them. You are either a friend or you are an enemy. That's constructivism. You are either with us or you are an enemy. Straight away, that's constructivism in the simple sense. The social norms that it is created, the social norm that it has created. In the other sense, if the nuclear weapon is in the hands of United Kingdom, the US will not complain. US is fine because they understand them. Their construct is they want to live at peace. But if that same weapon is in the hands of, say, Iraq, they will start calling Saddam Hussein a rogue leader, and a rogue leader of a rogue nation, and they'll go after Saddam Hussein of Iraq because he is not one of them. The other bit you can understand, which is common in international relations or foreign policy, is what? The friend of my friend is my friend. The enemy of my friend is my enemy. The enemy of my friend is my enemy. So if one country, for an instance, Israel and Hamas, or Israel and Palestine, the kind of battle they are fighting as of today, US's friend is Israel. Israel's enemy is Hamas. So then Hamas is an enemy to the US. The enemy of my friend is my enemy. Those are issues that we have to look at under constructivism. Okay, the two types of constructivism in understanding it in foreign policy. One is the US type, which is what we call positivist, the positivist. And then the other type is the post-positivist. That's by Europeans. The differences are quite so clear, but they all end up in a potpourri to make foreign policy better appreciated, in the sense that The conservative constructivism or the positivist, the US positivist, understand constructivism as cause and effect. That cause and effect relationship. And that's what makes them positivist. The Europeans understand it as what? More inductive, more appreciation of the interactions, more appreciative of the language that is spoken. So they are more inductive. Okay, the US is deductive. They want to find out what is the cost of an action. For an instance, they want to find out what are the causes of the Syria and IS, Islamic State war, that has been going on for over 12 years, if not 14 years. They want to understand what are the causes. Why is Syria at war against IS, Islamic State? One time it was ISIS. It's now IS. Okay. Europeans will look at it this way. As a foreign policy, Europeans will look at it. Let's listen to the language they are speaking. Are they all speaking the same religious language? What are the differences in the religious language they are speaking? Then they can make do with it. So Europeans are more qualitative and the US is more quantitative. Another way of looking at it. So whilst the US is deductive, Europeans are more inductive. Those are issues that you would make sense to us when we are understanding constructivism. The three ways of understanding constructivism are what? 1, bureaucracy. 2, decision making. And 3, globalization. Okay. Bureaucracy. The Europeans are very bureaucratic, meaning that they have all forms of structures, and all countries have all forms of structures. We have the non-state actors, we have the individuals, we have the state actors, and even in the state actors, we have those internal and those external. How do they link up? They all sit up and discuss. See? However, take note, when it comes to state actors and foreign policy in the constructivist idea, they hide their key interest. It is always latent. They don't make you know until you see it exhibited. US will not, or Europeans will not tell you that they will make more profit from investing in Africa. They will make it look as though they are helping you. The Chinese will not make it obvious to you, overtly to you, that they are exploiting Africa. No, they will always go covertly. They always go covertly. So you think that they are helping you, no, but when you sit down and watch what they are doing, do the computations, then you realize that there is a problem. They have an interest that they are protecting. So in the discussions, when you're listening to them, you would appreciate it. Inductively, when you listen to the language, interpretatively, when you listen to the language they are speaking and the narratives they've written before signing a contract, will tell you whether you benefit or you don't benefit as Africa when you are dealing with China, or when you are dealing with Russia, or when you are dealing with the US, or when you are dealing with France, or the UK, or Germany for that matter, or for any Portugal, Spain, and Italy, and any of them for that matter. So you need to understand that there are various levels of bureaucracy. There's grade A, grade B, grade C levels of bureaucracy. In the discussions, they group non-governmental organizations together and they have their own kind of discussions. It's led by a moderator, by maybe a state actor, to gather ideas, how they think the state must be run. For an instance, the state wants to buy a military aircraft. Meanwhile, the state has about 45.1% of its population being multidimensionally poor. 45.1% of the population of that state is multidimensionally poor. The NGOs would scream, no, you don't deserve to buy the military aircraft, i.e. by Oxfam. Let's pause for advert and we pick it from there again. Welcome back to Constructivism. Like I was saying, In the deliberation, maybe the first level, the non-governmental organizations, NGOs, when they meet, they are made to discuss issues of government choices in foreign policy. A military aircraft is to be bought by the nation, which is a foreign entity looking for a country to buy its military aircraft. For an instance, Boeing wants Ghana, for instance, to buy a military aircraft, or Airbus, for instance, wants Ghana to buy its military aircraft. The NGOs, when they meet, for instance, Oxfam will tell you that 45.1% of the Ghanaians are multidimensionally poor as of today, 2024, year 2024. Then they'll say, no, it's not a good choice. The individuals may gather together and demonstrate. For an instance, there was a demonstration against the US having a military base in Ghana. That's some 7 years ago, 2017. All right. That demonstration went on. The individuals grouped up into political parties and demonstrated. You need to capture it as part of foreign policy, understand it. What is their views? What goes into the explanation? What are their thought patterns? That makes it constructive. Do they like it or they don't like? Some people are just peace-loving people. They don't want anything to do with war. They just don't want any military weapons. So then you can understand them. They know who they are. They are peace-loving people. They just don't want anything on peace. Okay. So then that aspect of it is there. Some people are aggressive and they believe that the only way they can protect themselves, and be at peace is to prepare for war. If you want peace, you have to prepare for war, and that's constructivism. Okay, so you understand them. So the NGO also meet, and then you do that. Then when it comes to the state actors, then the individuals are like political parties have grouped up. The non-state actors like the NGOs, the state actors like the state itself, having the foreign affairs ministry, having 2 or 3 levels of meetings, operational level meetings, discussions, and they look at which is worth the country buying. Is it the Airbus military aircraft, or importing food for the poor people, or giving them subsidy or something? Okay, so then they'll look at this and put in, but the intent, the original intent is mostly not known until it's exhibited. And when Ghana bought the Airbus for the military aircraft, that's when you get to know that no, there's something more than just what you think, and that's the construct. The government has constructed its mind in terms of foreign policy. They are buying the military aircraft for the Ghana Armed Forces, which is a foreign military aircraft, because Ghana doesn't operate a military aircraft. And it's needed at the time or otherwise. I'm not justifying any act or otherwise. So those are some of the issues. Then that's bureaucracy. So all these discussions goes on for quite some time before a decision will be reached. And so it's always what we call bureaucracy. You need to talk. And in the talking, whilst they are talking, you pick the language, the content of the language. So that's where the Europeans also, the European constructivism or post-positivist also come in. You pick the language being used. And you pick it carefully. Is it peace or non-peace? Instead of saying non-peace, some people say war and non-war. So you pick the meaning of these words carefully. Anyone who says war and non-war is what? An aggressive person or an aggressive group. Those who say peace and non-peace, they are more peace-loving people. You know, so you can appreciate or understand what they are saying better. The other bit after bureaucracy is decision-making. When all these discussions are going on, don't forget it's worth it being a debate between state actors and non-state actors. It's worth being a debate. So Europeans are good at debating issues. When they go to European Parliament, there will be subgroups, and the subgroups will meet and debate and debate and debate, put the details in down before they hand over to the European Parliament for also to look at. And they also will debate, and that's where we find the beauty of democracy sometimes in the oral prowess. There is nothing in the oral prowess, there's nothing like power display in constructivism. It is the understanding. It is picking up what makes the society decide that this is what we want. Anything other than that is not accepted. It's between what's accepted and non-accepted. It's between the do's and the don'ts. That's constructivism. Okay, then so such debates must be welcome, and it's welcome in some societies like Europe and America. In some African societies, they don't welcome them. Some Asian societies, they don't welcome debates, but we encourage that debates must be welcome, because that way you can understand precisely the reasons why the society or a group of people think this way and not the other way. Then we have what we continue to look at, globalization. This is the third part and the last bit. With globalization, the world is becoming a smaller place in terms of interaction. Once the world is becoming a smaller place in terms of interactions, there is harmonization, or there is uniformity being built. Some uniformity is being built around all of us, that we all are using the internet, that we all are agreeing to what you call human rights. We all are agreeing to some issues like freedom of expression, freedom of speech. We are using social media, or almost all of us are using social media. Some are using it to teach, some are using it to learn, some are using it for entertainment, some are using it for sport, and the world is becoming a bit more different. Cryptocurrency is also coming, where money is changed into the virtual money, is becoming the in thing, where you don't have the paper or the coins money anymore. Gradually to creep in, we wouldn't be using, maybe we wouldn't be using the paper money anymore. It will all be just figures, and everything will be imaginary. So you keep slaving yourself to work and you get imaginary money, and you keep spending the imaginary money to make your life fine. There's nothing wrong, because to think of it, that is globalization. You can import from anywhere or export from anywhere. But then as to whether the tariffs between countries is any helpful, is it giving a zero-sum effect or a positive or negative sum effect? Those are issues that we would have to debate or discuss and come up with some solution when it comes to buying online. Okay, if for an instance this globalization, so it means that there's jurisdictional issues, there's country barriers, and that country barriers is what is the current problem. It is what's making globalization a bit fuzzy or fuzzy. Okay, let's put it this way. When I import, say, this remote control from country B into Ghana, then I have to pay the import duty and then maybe another tariff on it. When I go to the post, I pay the Ghana Post to receiving it, or DHL or Federal Express for receiving it. All right. When I pay, maybe the postage has been paid by the manufacturer because I pay the postage. But when I pick it at Federal Express or DHL or Ghana Post for that matter, I will have to pay tax for it. Okay. The other bit is when I also send another item, say this paper, to a recipient who has bought it from me for X amount. When he gets there, is he also going to pay that tariff? If he pays that tariff, besides the postage, if he pays that tariff, then if you do the sums it's zero-sum effect. So then it's not necessary. We have to clear off these tariffs within countries. When we do that, we've come to that position that look, we clear off all tariffs, then it will mean that globalization has taken its full effect. Until then, globalization itself has its limitations, as we are experiencing now. It makes it a bit difficult. However, we have what we call supra organizations, like European Union is a supra organization where they make laws, and all member countries, all the European countries that are members of European Union, EU, and are members of the EU zone, the Eurozone rather, especially the Eurozone, to them is fine. Within the Eurozone is tariff-free. You follow me? If, say, human rights is expected of every country within the Eurozone or the European Union, it's easy. Once European Union passes the law, all other countries adapt it. If African Union passes the law, if you watch carefully, if you go through the books, when we do African Union, you may understand that the human rights dictates of African Union is an adaptation from the United Nations Charter. And so all countries within the African Union must obey it. However, some do not. And those who do not, it is meant for AU to ensure that they enforce those regulations. Compliance is important because regulations are made to have compliance and enforcement aspect of them. All right. So this generally brings us to this point of globalization. We expect that, for instance, Facebook is now global. Not that now, it's global. We don't expect Facebook to have barriers like country barriers. No, we don't expect Amazon to have country barriers. They are all free. We don't expect Google to have country barriers. We expect them to operate internationally as they are without tariff. When it comes to Amazon purchases and all that, and it's tariff free between countries, then would have arrived to what we call constructivism aspect, the globalization aspect of constructivism. And that's what some of us are waiting for, where tariffs, imports and export tariffs are cancelled all over the world, and making wares or commodities, products, price lower than currently. Life will be much better. The name is H. Kwame Afaglo. Thank you. If you have any questions or query or share any difference, don't hesitate to put it up per the contact I have shown up on the screen. Thank you.